White Martians attack the DEO.
Rip Hunter jumpstarts the American Revolution.
And Oliver Queen returns to his Russian roots.
We're going to talk about all that and more as we review and recap all the CW DC superhero shows. Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Welcome to DCTV Recap, the show where we recap all the CW TV shows so that you don't have to watch them, you don't have to talk about them, you just come right here. We're going to talk about them, we're going to break them down, do all kinds of stuff like that. We're going to talk about all the episodes, and in case there's a certain series that you don't like, you can go down into the description, click ahead, skip ahead, do whatever. But I suggest you stay around to the end because we are going to give away our prize for our Legion of Tomorrow. A bunch of you out there made fan art from last week's video, so we're going to reveal the winner at the very end of the video. But first, let's jump straight into Supergirl.
Supergirl Season 2, Episode 11, The Martian Chronicles. A white Martian called Armek comes to National City with the intention of bringing M'gann back to Mars to be punished for her treason.
Okay, first off, I want to talk about, and again, we're going to break this down good, bad, then rating and predictions. First, I want to talk about, man, every time Supergirl deals with the Martians, I love it.
A+ Martianing.
It's really great. But first off, before we get to all the Martian stuff, I want to bring up, in this episode, they introduced the idea that Supergirl has her 13th Earth birthday. She celebrates the day that she landed on Earth. I actually really love that idea.
I do too.
I thought it was very sweet. And I was with Supergirl, I was kind of offended when Alex was just like, I gotta go to a bare naked ladies concert.
Look, as a Canadian, I am pro bare naked ladies all the time, but it's a weak choice because her and Alex are so close, and we've established that repeatedly throughout the seasons, that there's no reason, like no matter what, like Alex would have told Maggie, I'm sorry, and made her rearrange that. Mm-hmm. But we needed this interpersonal conflict between the two sisters, I guess. For something that's going to happen later on. I didn't love the setup for that storyline in this episode.
What did you love in this episode, Ashley?
I loved seeing Maggie and Alex together, even though there's some weirdness. I just really like their relationship, and I think they feel like a real couple. And I think that the Maggie Sawyer character has really, I guess, found her footing, for lack of a better word, now that she's Alex's girlfriend and she's not just like, I'm tough cop lady.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying
She's more than just a character.
Yeah. She's a real person, and it's really wonderful to see that.
I want to talk about a little bit of the beginning John and M'gann stuff. Can we call her Megan?
Sure, we can call her Megan.
Call her Megan. Okay, I love that there was that scene where we revealed that John's been like following her around in all these different costumes. Like he was the old lady at the bus stop he mentioned and stuff like that. And then we learned that the white Martian that's hunting them is M'gann's husband or betrothed.
Yeah. They're bonded to each other.
And he drops a lot of stuff about Mars. So apparently Mars is like a white Martian paradise right now, which is something that doesn't really happen in DC comic books. Mm-hmm. There's not any green people there because in DC comic books, they're all dead and the white Martians like went to limbo.
Yes.
But I also think that John and M'gann get some really good scenes in this episode, especially the scenes in the alleyway in the very beginning where he's like, I trust you now. So, what else did you think about this episode?
I just want to say one more thing on that note. I think sometimes the guest stars that come in and out of this episode are kind of a wash because they just exist to deliver exposition. And that's what this, the husband of M'gann, like Armek, he exists just to come.
I thought he was good.
And I was going to say, but I thought he was really good. So, like, props to that actor.
I believe he was threatening.
Yes. Yeah. For taking his little part and, like, making it into something really great. And again, like, a revelation because of this character later on, which is really, really interesting.
Another revelation that this show does is there's a scene where we know the White Martians are there, and then suddenly there are two Megans in the DEO headquarters.
That was cool.
And then they do this scene where they do lockdown, of course, and they're hunting for the White Martians, and we can't trust anybody in this room. And, of course, there's two characters where there's one character we saw last season, but there's another character we've never met before. They're all like, you're the White Martian. No, you're the White Martian.
It's such a sci-fi TV trope.
I was going to bring that up. Every
Star Trek has done it.
Yep. And then they do the whole thing of holding your hand to the fire to reveal your real skin color, which I actually thought was really clever.
I thought that was cool.
But I thought it was very similar to the scenes in Star Trek Deep Space Nine where you have to cut your hands to bleed to prove that you're not a shapeshifter.
Yes, yeah.
But again, every sci-fi show does the lockdown. It's called the bottle episode, everybody, where we don't spend any extra money so that we can just be like, oh, you're the traitor.
Yeah, we shoot on the sets we already have.
Yep. What else did you take from this episode?
In addition to, like you said, the revealing of the skin, I like that from that scene, we learn that Wynn is the traitor, which is really interesting.
Yes.
We get to see Jeremy Jordan playing more than just Wynn. And again, he's quite threatening and he's really good.
Let's point this out here. Jeremy Jordan, over the last 3 or 4 episodes, has been really good. And to me, it proves, again, very similar to what happened with Tommy Merlin in season 1, that when you give an actor on these shows something to do, they can actually do it. And they can actually be interesting. But you have to give that character something to do. And they've been giving Wynn some pretty awesome stuff to do the last couple episodes.
I would say it's the difference between where his character's at this season and where Jimmy is at this season, where we've given Jimmy this one thing and we're not doing it that well. But he was great. It was really nice, again, just to see him doing more.
I sort of want to talk about the Alex twist, as we mentioned earlier, we find out that Alex is a white Martian. And also, I want to talk about the end fight. There are 2 white Martians. And there's this really good shot of the white Martian goes up, and Supergirl flies at him and goes, ba 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 ba.
It looks so good.
And it reminded me of Man of Steel, where there's that really quick shot where Superman flies up to Zod and is like, ba 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 ba.
Oh, there's another moment earlier when they're fighting the white Martian on the street, and Supergirl takes him and flies through a building and flies out the roof, and it reminded me of Man of Steel as well.
Yeah, but at the end fight, the white Martians in season 1, they looked a little shaky, but that fight where she flies in and goes, ba 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 ba, I keep doing it because I loved it. It looks solid.
It does. It looks really good.
Really solid. The white Martians in this episode held up pretty damn well. Now, maybe it's because they were in total darkness. In season 1, they were in bright daylight on the street.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes a difference. I also really liked when we saw the 2 green Martians, even though she's not a green Martian.
But I like that she does that, and she does it because it makes Jean more comfortable around her.
And their fight with him looked pretty damn cool. I thought the whole end fight was pretty awesome.
It did. And you could see when they were doing their own moves that, again, they were great fighters. They executed the choreography really well.
Any other good stuff for you in this episode you want to bring up?
Well, we jumped all the way to fight. I just thought the fight was so good. And I liked, the purpose...
You can backtrack if you want.
That's okay. The purpose of these episodes is team building to get everyone to trust each other. And I do think that even though it's a trope of storytelling that we're used to seeing on television, I think it was executed really well in the end. And I liked the way the team came together. I liked the moment where Kara sort of gives Wynn her blessing to go out and help Guardian if he needs to, even though I still think it is anti to the character that we've had established to this point that she would...
We're not talking about the bad yet.
No.
We're only talking about good.
But I thought it was nice that she's like, hey, if you're going to go and help Guardian, do it, but please be safe.
Okay. I just want to point out my final good is that the Mon-El stuff was very little, and also no Jimmy in this episode. No Jimmy.
All the Mon-El stuff goes in my bad.
That's a positive. But it was a good because there was only 2 scenes of it.
Yeah.
So that's why
he's
that's a good
better
thing.
when he's playing goofy bartender guy than goofy hero man.
All right, my first bad. Let's talk about the bad now.
Okay.
Alice going to a Bare Naked Ladies concert. Bad.
What is wrong with the Bare Naked Ladies?
They're
great.
They're not what they were.
They're great.
You don't abandon your adoptive alien sister who can burn through buildings and the crust of the moon to go see a Bare Naked Ladies concert.
You don't. I also thought it was silly that because she was talking to the white Martian impersonating Alex, we had to have a redux of that conversation twice in this episode. When it really didn't need to happen.
Here's your point where it's like Kara, excuse me, at the very beginning of the episode gives Wynn a lot of crap about going out and being a guardian and stuff like that. Yeah. And she's like, and she basically, her whole argument comes down to this factor that I can't believe that Supergirl is making this argument. Basically, it's like, you don't have power, so you're worthless.
And we talked about this last episode. You brought it up. She's worked with Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
She's been led by him. They have mutual respect.
She's worked with their own sister who has no powers.
Right. There's absolutely no reason for that to exist except the writers needed to create conflict.
Any other bads you have?
I thought the Mon-El scenes were silly, and
That's a given.
I don't like that they are driving towards a romance, even though you can see it from his first appearance.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Next week's the Valentine's Day episode, so woo.
My bad also was that Miss Martian Megan left. That's a bad thing for me.
That is, but the scene was really well acted.
It was great. I'm just sad that she's gone.
Do you think she's gone forever?
No, she'll come back.
Okay, good, because I think so too.
I don't think we'll see her till the finale, though.
Maybe not.
I think she's gone to the finale.
That'd be a bummer. She's great.
And then also I want to point out, I'm going to bring this up in Legends as well. Supergirl brings up Tinder because Mon-El is just like, oh yeah, we swiped right, blah, blah, blah.
Ugh.
Supergirl and Legend, I think in this attempt to be funny and to be, like, relevant and stuff like that, they did this, like, both shows in the same week make jokes about Tinder.
Do you think it's because they know they're on the heels of the Valentine's Day episode?
I mean, I don't know what that would have to do with talking about Tinder.
Well, because you could make a joke about Tinder because Tinder's, sort of like a joke about how people get together.
No, I think it has nothing to do. I think it has everything to do with some people that are really out of touch trying to make a joke. And it's not working.
I checked, and it's not the same writers credited, although they obviously all share the same space. There may have been some cross-pollination.
It is too coincidental that both these shows talked about Tinder in the same week. All right, so let's move right into our rating on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Ashley, what would you give Supergirl, the Martian Chronicles?
So I think you nailed it. I think when we focus on
Did I nail it?
On the Martian
hammer?
storyline, sure, with a hammer,
cool.
with a Martian hammer.
Great.
On the Martian storyline in particular, and then in a macrocosm, when we focus on the alien aspects of Supergirl, that is where the show really shines. That's what you can do unique to the show that you can't do anywhere else. I'm sad that McGann leaves, but for a bottle episode, I thought that they took the trope and did something really interesting with it. I'm going to give it 4 for Supergirl this week. I thought it was a good episode.
Agreed. I am also giving it a 4. I really like this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. Again, if you just were to name this show the Martian Manhunter show, I'd be down. If it was just like Supergirl, Martian Manhunter, fight crime, I am in.
It's kind of the Diggle trope. John Diggle's the best actor on Arrow. Same thing with Flash. Jesse L. Martin's the best actor there. David Harwood's the best actor on Supergirl.
But Arrow uses Diggle more than Supergirl uses John.
Yes, that's true.
John only gets episodes, and then other times he just disappears in the background.
He'll be sidelined, That's true.
And I kind of think that they should not do that. But I also understand that he's a very expensive special effect.
Yes.
So, all right, let's go. Let's talk about predictions for the future of Supergirl. What do you think is going to happen?
I think Kara and Mon-El are going to kiss in the next episode.
Well, duh.
And I'm not excited about that. But I also think by either the end of next episode or the episode after that, I think we're getting Mon-El's costume. Because it's been teased for a couple episodes now.
Already?
We've seen him becoming increasingly more heroic. And just judging by the way the seasons tend to be structured for these shows, he's got to be full-on Superman light for the finale.
Yes.
I
don't think he gets his costume till the finale.
I think he gets it in preparation for the finale. I think he's gonna have a moment where he thinks he doesn't deserve the costume and he abandons it because Mon-El always rage quits stuff, and then he'll come back to it in time for the finale to suit up and help Supergirl. So I think we're getting suited up Mon-El post kiss in the next episode. What do you think is coming up?
I don't know if this is gonna happen this season or next season because we know that we are having a Supergirl season 3, which is great.
Yes.
They've been doing a lot of White Martian stuff. There's a lot of White Martians on Mars now. I think that when Mars notices that their agents didn't come back, I think we are going to get a full Martian invasion on Supergirl.
White Martian invasion.
Yep, I think it's going to happen. We've been teasing it too much. We've been knocking down the things. Now, I think that they could make this like the Grant Morrison storyline. If you know anything about that in JLA, the White Martians came as a fake superhero group.
Yeah.
So maybe
that'd be cool.
Maybe they might do something like that where there's a fake superhero and oh no, it's a White Martian and I'm here to kill you all. Because, they become more popular than Superman or whatever.
Yep.
And it'd be cool because you could give them one of the names from the Grant Morrison comic book, and comic book fans would be like, I know what's happening.
Yeah.
But I think the Martians are coming to Earth, and I think they're going to kill everybody. So there you go. That's my prediction.
Bummer.
Yeah, into Supergirl. Martians. All right, so let's move right into The Flash.
The Flash, Season 3, Episode 12, Untouchable. A criminal metahuman is causing people to decompose at an accelerated rate.
Now, as you know out there in internet land, we do a separate Flash recap just because there's so much time-travel-y gobbledygook that I feel that Flash needs its own thing. And if you want to go watch that show, you can click on the card that's happening right above on the screen. Go check out our Flash recap. We were in the middle on this week's episode.
We were.
We thought it was good, but it was kind of messy.
Yes.
Had a nice callback to the 1990s. And we learned that Barry Allen is a cheat.
Yeah, and kind of mean.
But we do know we got coming up that we have Gorilla City.
Oh, it's going to be so
Two-part episode into Gorilla City. Is there anything special? I'd love to just throw out a prediction. Is there anything special you think we'll see in the next 2 episodes specifically? In the Gorilla City two-part. First of all, how awesome is it that we're having a Gorilla City two-part?
I can't even believe it. It's so amazing.
It's pretty cool.
I think that this is going to be a pivotal arc for Wally and Jesse, and I think we're finally going to get them together because it's the Valentine's Day episode next week, and CW loves to hit those
Kissy,
holidays.
Wally, Wally.
I want them to kiss so bad.
Okay.
I want it. Quick Wally. Kiss.
I'm going to throw out a prediction that I didn't throw out in our Flash review.
Okay.
I'm going to say that Gorilla Grodd is what turns Julian Alpert evil.
Again.
Gorilla Grodd is telepathic. I think
good call. And he was
he's
mind control.
He's going to mind control whammy machine Dr. Julian Alpert and turn him back into alchemy.
Ooh.
That's what I think is going to happen. That is my prediction for the big Gorilla City two-parter. But if you want to know more of our thoughts on Flash, like I said, go over to our full Flash recap of this week's episode. Let's move into Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 11, Turncoat. The Legends travel to the winter of 1776 to protect George Washington during the American Revolution, but Sarah is forced to send out Nate and Amaya when things don't go as planned.
Speaking of things that don't go as planned, again, we're going to start out the good, the bad, then the ugly, then the rating, and the prediction. Let's talk about the intro again. Again, they changed the intro. Mick Heatwave doing the intro, and then he ended it be like, "We're not heroes. We're legends. Who writes this crap?"
Mick Rory is the gift that keeps
Yep.
on giving. May the gods bless Dominic Purcell in all things. It was the best.
All right, well, let's get the actual episode. We, of course, see Rip Hunter killing George Washington, and they go back in time, and he's leading the British. He gives the British M16s. Let's talk about Arthur Darvill has a new haircut.
Not a great haircut.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
He's still adorable. I don't love the Macklemore haircuts that
either.
everyone's been getting across the
Barry
board.
Allen has one now, too.
It doesn't look good.
And Nate's had one since the beginning of the season.
It doesn't look good on anyone. It was like a joke haircut that they did on Broadway for Spring Awakening in 2007, and it was funny then, and it's not a good look now. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It looks very gangstery, right?
No. It looks like you want to be a gangster.
Oh, okay,
it doesn't
okay.
look like a real gangster.
But speaking of somebody who's talking about a gangster, Arthur Darvill back in this episode, full on as like sort of a Rip Hunter. Even though he was evil for most of the episode, this is a big positive for me because even though Rip Hunter was evil most of the episode, I still enjoyed it. And 2, let's point out how good of a villain was Arthur Darvill in this episode. I almost thought he was better than everyone in the Legion of Doom.
I would agree. He is scarier than everyone in the Legion of Doom, even though he's a more grounded character. Because of that, because he's less theatrical, he's more threatening, and he actually hates all of these people for a very specific reason. Whereas the Legion of Doom are a little bit like, well, we're evil, so we'll be evil, which is great, but in a different way. Arthur Darvill's a great actor.
Yeah, he's 100%. And that's why I was saying, like, this is totally a positive because I have missed him on this show so much. I'm glad he's back.
I like Sarah being in charge, but having Rip just around, it doesn't even have to be in charge, is a boon to the show.
What else did you like from this episode?
We got a Hamilton reference!
We did.
I thought we were going to see him, but we did have...
I knew we weren't going to see him.
We did have Goofy Brandon Routh making the reference.
Legends, if you notice, only gives you one character from history per episode, and then everybody else is just nobodies. They always do that. And so, like, George Washington was our character from history, even though Cornwallis got a brief appearance.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, Washington was our character, nobody else.
I will say, I really enjoyed Cornwallis. I thought all of, like, because it's an American-made show, all of, like, the evil British people in this episode were a really, really great time. And then I thought Rip used his redcoats in a very interesting way to try and circumvent what the Legends were doing throughout the episode, like when they're trying to pull the door open of the Wave Rider.
We'll get to there.
Okay.
We're a ways from that. Okay. Let's talk about, first off, I actually kind of enjoyed opening up the scene where they're just cooking breakfast, and you find out that Ray has a chore wheel.
Yeah.
It was something that I didn't expect, because that's a lot of things like. Remember in season 1 for Legends, how long it took us to even see somebody's quarters?
That's true.
Like, we didn't see somebody's quarters until, like, episode, 14.
And then we just kept seeing Hot Girl's quarters
over
and over again.
And we've gotten to see Mick's quarters now. We've gotten to see Stein's quarters now.
Sarah's.
I don't think we've seen Sarah's. I'm not certain about that
I thought we were in Sarah's for, like, a minute.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. But I like the idea of the mundane. And even them talking about the mundane, being like, sometimes I just want to get off the ship.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I like that idea, and I like that scene of them making pancakes. Unfortunately, for the rest of it, all the rest of the scenes with Nate and Amaya are all in the bad, but we'll move on. Let's talk about really quick little beat. I loved when they got to the party scene and Ray was riding Heatwave's hat.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute.
I also like that they put Mick as the soldier, which I get it. He's like the toughest one there. And he wears that uniform like he doesn't know what he's doing with himself. It's a great bit of physicality that nobody else really does. And, Legends is like touch and go with the uniforms because they go to so many time periods. But it looked really good inside the same slave house from the Civil War episode. Yep. And I thought that he was a real joy to watch, trying to go through the weird customs of the time.
Yeah. Well, also all the places they had their battle scenes for this was the same places they had the Civil War battles with the zombies as well.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about Rip Hunter and his British men, and Rip Hunter has the technology bomb that, like, conveniently takes everybody. But I still thought that was cool. It, like, stops the quantum splicer. It stops Ray from growing. It stops the Wave Rider. I thought that was cool.
I thought it was great for Ray, because Ray's a character that I waffle on a lot. I either think he's really great or I think he's fairly useless. And I think leaving him micro size, atom size, was really fascinating and a really great way to, like, pay off the rat joke with Rory's quarters. Even though... why don't you just shoot him on a green screen?
We'll talk about the bad in a second. We'll get there. I didn't like the rat. I was like, how does Gideon not stop a rat? But we'll talk about that in the bad. We're still in the good. I liked Washington and Mick talking on the way to their death. I like Washington was all be like prim and proper, and Mick was just like, I don't care. Whatever. But then it did get a little bit too much when, like, Mick was just like, being an American is basically screwing over everybody.
Yeah.
That's America, buddy.
I had weird feelings about that, and then about Washington the rest of the time being like, we're being American right now. Hooray.
All right, but let's get back to how awesome Arthur Darvill was in this show.
So awesome.
Okay, so he shoots Sarah in the gut.
Not awesome.
He hunts Jax throughout the ship.
Awesome.
He snaps Sarah's neck.
Not awesome.
And then he, like, walks through this creek bed, and Jax is like, I'm going to shoot you with this old musket. Even though the distance we were standing from, that musket wouldn't even hit you. But it doesn't matter. And Rip Hunter's just like, shoot me, I don't care. Shoot me. Now, here's the weird thing that I thought. I don't know why they didn't. Even though I kind of understand that the British army was coming, so that's why I think they should have grabbed Rip and just took him on the Wave Rider.
I agree.
Sarah could have took him.
But Sarah just recovered from being recently dead.
But she was recovered from Gideon's super technology, so maybe she's okay.
That's true. I'll give you that. It's a weak choice, and it's a thing because they said he's going to be off the ship for this many episodes, so write him off the ship for this many episodes. I believe that Jax would not shoot him, but I don't believe that Jax would not tackle him to the ground and beat the snot out of him.
Yeah.
Which would have been just as interesting as Sarah doing it with great grace in a very adept way. They should have just, hogtied him and thrown him on the ship. They should have never let him leave the ship.
Any other positives you want to talk about?
I thought the Christmas scene was sweet. I thought Sarah's toast was well done, but that should have been in a December episode and not February.
We're almost to the bad. We'll get there.
I know, but I liked it, but it was misplaced, I thought.
My final good is I like the little beat of the statue in the nation's capital
I forgot about
Rory.
that.
I think that's a nice little thing. I think that's a nice little wink at the audience. But yeah. All right, so let's move into the bad, which you should begin since you kept wanting to jump there. Spill it out there.
I have mixed feelings about this episode because I feel like stuff started out good and then sort of crumbled as storylines went on. George Washington was bad.
Yes, I have that in my list too.
I don't know what it is about the show that, like, our one historical figure who is the cornerstone of this episode is terrible.
Well, let's talk through this because they did it with Grant.
Yeah.
They did it with Al Capone. They did it with Einstein. Whoever is casting this show, I don't think is doing a great. These character actors. And I think they're all local Vancouver, Canadian actors.
Probably. My suspicion is that it's not so much that they're bad in the room or that the casting director is doing a bad job. I think because they're probably only guest actors, maybe day players, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're not given the attention by the director that the regular cast members are because they have to choose where to focus. So they're going to focus on the characters that you see week to week or maybe the fights. And then these guys kind of get left with first take, best take. Well, and it's not.
Well, it's interesting because I feel that the other shows don't have this, or they don't have a problem this large. Like
not as consistently.
Exactly. The other shows can hit it at about, I think, a 50-50 ratio. I actually think that Arrow does it better than all the rest of them. Because I think it's like maybe easier to play bad guy, the darker like crooks that Arrow has.
I agree, but I think Legends is probably also the show that films the most quickly because they have the most to do.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, Legends, like, man, it is consistently bad. Whoever they meet in history is terrible. The only exception they've had is young Martin Stein.
He's great.
He's good.
But it's because he's just doing Victor Garber light. We have also got to see him twice now.
Yes. I didn't like the Rat.
I like the idea of the Rat, like of this small thing as a foe for Ray, more than the execution of it. Because, like you said, Gideon would know.
Gideon would know
get rid of that rat.
Yeah.
And it looks like making the Rat CG and then Ray CG when you could have just shot him and a rat in front of a green screen.
And from a production standpoint, like I thought it was so weird. That I get that the everything you see in the Rat has to be CGI. I understand that. But you have Brandon Routh. You have a suit that looks great. Yeah, shoot him doing all these scenes on a green screen and then put that Brandon Routh in the CG shot. It's possible. I've worked in production. I've done it before.
The uncanny valley of him walking on the table surrounded by real people is real, and it's not good.
Yeah, it didn't look good. Okay, so let's talk about so Nate. Let's talk the other Tinder scene. So Nate explains dating, and then he jumps in a river. He gets hypothermic, and then Vixen's like, "We got to go skin for skin," forcing the romance, and then they just kiss because she's naked, and he's like, "Well, you could wait over here, and we're so chill about this stuff in the future," and then they have a sex scene. Yeah.
I have so many thoughts about this.
And I don't like this. One, I don't like this romance because I really thought we were leaning Vixen towards Rory. And now I'm worried that they're going to set up a love triangle and that this is going to be the reason why Rory leaves the ship. And I hate that.
I just think it's frustrating because they've set this up because, like, Nate is so obsessed with the JSA that, like, of course you're going to have him be the one. And because she had a relationship with his great whatever. It's just... and
no, she didn't have the relationship with his... she had the relationship with our man.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But they have, like, those two actors have no chemistry.
No.
And even though Vixen and Heatwave would have been stranger, at least they have chemistry when they play together. They
do.
seem like they like each other, and there's sparks there.
I don't buy her liking him.
I don't.
I buy him liking her.
I agree.
But I don't buy her liking him.
The way that Nate explains modern day dating shows you, I guess, the disrespect with which some people treat modern day dating. I really thought it was a horrible way to try and explain, like, courtship.
Well, I will say the thing that was more horrible about it was that, and I can't believe this made it into the final cut of the episode, was the fact that so they did the revolutionary deed. And they wake up, and she's like, and he's like, well, how about another go? And she's like, 2 of our teammates are gonna die?
Yeah.
Maybe we should go talk about them? And I'm like, yeah, Nate, you asshole.
Yeah.
Like, look, we all like carnal relations like the next person. Come on. But still... if
you're here to do a job.
You're here to do a job, man. Come on.
Also, like, I'll give you the skin-on-skin contact thing. If you just fell into a river, like, that's real. That is, like, science. But why would she like him? He's such a schmuck.
I also, too, and I understand that they did this because they were forced in the relationship. In my mind, I kind of was thinking, my first thought was when he had the hypothermia and he was shaking, I was kind of like, well, steel up, because... when your skin is steel, you've shown that you can't feel anything. So wouldn't that stop the hypothermia?
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it. The writers didn't go that way because they were like, they gotta sign the Constitution.
It was so bad.
So,
it was so bad.
Let's also talk about how bad the action scene of Rory and only George Washington taking on 50 British men and George Washington's final word being kaboom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dumb.
I mean, I get it. You're trying to go for the idea that, like, Mick inspired the Americans to use guerrilla warfare.
The British would have shot him.
They'd be dead. They would both be dead.
And then let's finally get to the, like, okay, I get that Washington's thing happened on Christmas Day. I understand that. It makes sense. It doesn't bother me. But then when you cut to the ship and they do a Christmas party as well, we are in the second week of February.
Yeah.
If you couldn't make this the Christmas episode, then don't do it.
Then do it next season.
Yeah, don't do it. I will give you the pass on George Washington because you're in the past. You can go anywhere in time and space. But the legends are supposed to mainly stay on our timeline.
Yeah.
So to have a Christmas episode on the second week of February makes me think you're just trying to rip off Shane Black. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google Shane Black's films. They're all set during Christmas.
True.
Okay, so let's move. Any other bad stuff?
Nah.
All right, let's move into the rating. Between a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being 5 Wave Riders being the best. Ashley, what would you give this episode?
I think this episode was pretty good. I think it was a slightly above average Legends of Tomorrow. It had mostly good stuff that crumbled into bad stuff, and so I'm going to give it 3.
Okay.
I think it was pretty good.
I did complain quite a bit about certain stuff, but man, Arthur Darvill playing the villain really made this episode for me and really made it a lot of fun for me. And every time they cut away from him, I was like, oh. And every time they came back, I was like, yay! I have to give this episode a 4.
For Arthur?
Simply for Arthur Darvill. I thought his acting was great, and I'm so happy that Rip Hunter is back on the show.
Me too.
So, okay, let's talk about our predictions for the show. Ashley, what do you think is going to happen with Legends of Tomorrow going forward?
Well, I think Legends of Tomorrow is in for a big paradigm shift because what we did at the end of last season is we kind of got rid of the Hawks and we got rid of Captain Cold and we brought in some new people for this season. I think we're going to see something similar happening. Yeah. I know you predicted the death of Martin Stein. I think that we are going to see Heatwave go away. I know that's not confirmed, but we know Dominic Purcell is working on Prison Break, and I think
Prison Break was shot a long time ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true. But so I think that they are going to use like you said, they're going to use Amaya and Nate's relationship to drive that away. But I also think that when Rory leaves, Amaya, because she can't really handle bad relationship stuff, so that when that happens, I think she is going to cut off her relationship with Nate, and I think this might be Nate's exit as well at the end of this season.
I actually think it'll be Amaya's exit, not Nate's.
No, I like her better.
I hope Amaya stays, but no. I think Nate is in on this show now.
No.
Unless my prediction is right.
What is your prediction?
Rip Hunter will kill one of the legends.
Can it be Nate?
For real. No takes backsies. He will kill one of the legends. One of the legends will die. It will become an ongoing plot point, and it will become a thing because you're going to realize we're going to see Rip Hunter, I think in the next 3 to 4 episodes, kill one of the legends. Because it sweeps, and also because that's what they're going to seal. And then you're going to get to the end of the season, and you're going to realize that Rip Hunter has been double-crossing all of us the entire time.
I thought
the viewers and the Legion of Doom. And I think that you're going to see that Rip Hunter set this whole thing in motion because he wanted all the pieces of the Spear and Destiny in one place so that he could destroy them. So that they could never affect... Because he's a brand new Time Master, right? His team is a brand new Time Master, right? They're the new Time Masters.
Yes.
At the beginning of the season, they're like, our job's kind of difficult. What's the one thing that can stop that job? The Spear of Destiny.
You don't think he's going to use it to go back and save his family?
No. I think this will be him accepting his destiny, being like, I can never go back. I think his family is forgotten. They're done. But I also think we will see, so we will think that character is dead, whether it's Martin Stein, Heatwave, Nate, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we're going to see a quick scene where Rip jumps back, to the moment right before he kills them and plucks them from the timeline and does a little Doctor Who thing where, like, you have to make everybody believe you're dead.
Yeah.
Because that's a fixed point in time. And then that person might come back next season on Legends Tomorrow. We don't know. We'll find out. Or leave the show. I think Rip Hunter is going to kill a legend. I think Rip Hunter is double-crossing us all.
I agree.
So there you go. All right. Speaking of double crosses, let's go to Arrow.
Arrow, Season 5, Episode 12, Bratva. A mission sends Team Arrow to Russia, where Oliver encounters an old friend.
All right, comrade. We are going to talk about the good and the bad. Niet?
Da.
Da. All right, first off, what'd you like in this episode?
I liked that we get to see more Anatoly.
Oh, who doesn't love Anatoly?
I freaking love Anatoly, and I love that we are getting him in the contemporary, the modern day timeline, because we've seen him a lot in flashbacks this season, obviously, and it's fun to see him interacting with all of Team Arrow, and I love that when he first shows up, he just cracks Oliver across the face. That was gold. I can't wait to use that GIF in internet conversations.
I really liked where the episode started. Oliver, or Pseudo the Archer, in his outfit, fresh from Talia Ghul, kicking ass, taking names, and catching Talia's arrow. And
that was cool.
Talia being like, the man who embraces the dark sees everything. I'm really liking Talia being the inciting incident, the impetus for the Hood, as what he was called in season 1.
It's such a Batman line too, which I'm okay with. Like, maybe she's already met Batman in this universe. I don't know. I love that Talia is very adamant that he go back home, that he stop running and he embraces destiny, because she's not at home and not a Parbat embracing her destiny. She's running all around the world.
Let's talk about all the deep cuts back into the history of Arrow that this episode had. Okay, so Anatoly, he was in the flashback season 2. We saw him in season 2. And Anatoly, you said he slapped Arrow. Well, he did because of Leonov, I think was his name. Leonov, who was the captain in season 1 and season 2, and he didn't do the favor for him in season 2, so that's why Destro killed him.
Yep.
I really like that, and that's what made Anatoly be like, Diggle is my favorite American now.
That line was so great.
And then Talia brings up, remember back, I think it was in season 3, when Oliver went back to Star City, and he saw Thea
and Tommy, and she's like, "You're not my brother."
Well, no. They never saw each other, but he saw Thea like taking drugs, and so he.
Thea says that to Tommy.
Oh yes, right.
Yeah.
And he beats the crap out of the drug dealer, and Talia being like, "Well, because you beat up the drug dealer, the drug problem got worse."
Yeah.
I like that little stuff like that, and then also let's talk about Oliver taking on the guy that is from Starling City, because remember it was called Starling City, and he says, "You have failed, Starling City." All of this stuff reminded me so much of season 1, and it reminded me of what I loved about this show and why I fell in love with the show in the first season. And it's something that when they do it, I'm like, oh yes, there it is. That's the show I love. What do you like? Keep bringing that back. And again, like even the impetus again of Talia being like, you cross one name off the list, you need to cross more. That Talia's the reason. And at first I shouldn't be that happy with it, but you know what? I think it's so cool. I think Lexa Doig is doing a great job. I'm totally okay with it. What else do you love?
I was gonna say, I was really mixed on Talia when they announced that she was gonna be part of the show, and Lexa Doig is tremendous. Yep. She's so good in that part, and they're so good together, and the flashbacks, the flashbacks used to be interesting. And now they're interesting again. It's so great.
Yep. And they actually tie into the present day storyline like they used to do.
Yes. I liked the Diggle storyline in this episode. We are getting back toward the Diggle storyline that he deserves and that we deserve. We do get to see him go a little extreme, which doesn't feel like
No, but his, I thought that too. Like, I almost put that in my bag.
Him like Batman yelling, I was like, ooh, a little far.
When he freaked out on Oliver, and he freaked out on the guy that they had in the basement when they had one of General Walker's men. But I thought for a second there that was the same thing. But I think that is, Diggle's frustration is justified.
It is. The stakes are high enough.
And I think this is going to be the only time we see that this season. Like, I think now that we've caught General Walker, it's going to go away.
I agree. For a one-off, I didn't mind it. And if we can do more stories like this, it'll be great. It'll be super, super great.
I really like the idea of Oliver taking the Bratva favor for the favor. Yeah. Them having to go break some fingers in this warehouse that we've seen a couple times on Arrow before, even though it's supposed to be in Russia. And I like the scene that he had with Dinah in the van, where he was like, 5 years ago I was in the Bratva. I'm still in the Bratva. I'm not moving forward. And Dinah does this really good monologue to him. And I gotta admit, I'm really liking this new Black Canary.
Me too. I was just gonna ask you if you liked seeing her there.
I do.
Because she seems like a peer. She
Yep.
seems like someone who has had maybe a similar or slightly similar journey to Oliver and the rest of the crew.
Which is weird because she's only been in one episode.
I know.
Yeah.
But like, she's capable. She's well trained. She already knows what she's doing, so she's already an asset. It's she's so cool. I like her a lot.
Yes, I was initially against this idea, but now I'm totally in for her idea. And their dynamic in that van, I was like, if this is the dynamic between our new Black Canary and Green Arrow, sold.
Don't make them lovers.
Oh, they will.
Don't. I know Oliver has to sleep with all of the canaries, but like, don't do it.
Next season, it's gonna happen.
No.
I like the showdown between the General and Diggle.
Yeah.
Thought that was good. Diggle getting his, not deciding to kill him.
They're both great actors.
And stuff like that. I also liked that we finally see the bar where Echo Kellum did the mannequin challenge on his Instagram.
Yeah, which he shared again.
Yep. And then in that scene, Anatoly asks Oliver for one more Bratva favor, which we don't get to find out.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Well, you know that's going to come up here in the next few episodes.
Oh, 100%. What else did you dig from this episode?
I like that we finally got the return of one of my favorite Arrow characters from the very beginning.
Quentin Lance.
Thank God Paul Blackthorne is back.
I'm back.
I love him so much.
I am. I'm here.
I didn't like that they benched him with Renee because I don't like Renee.
That's the thing that didn't make sense to me.
It didn't at all. I see why you don't take Renee to Russia.
It didn't work.
But Paul Blackthorne was great. It's
good.
It's some of the most.
I was good in this episode.
It's some of the most subtle acting. Even if it does feel like a retread, like we've seen him get sober before, so I'm really hoping that this is the last time.
The one thing I did like about that is I liked at the end when Wild Dog revealed that Quentin caught him as a beat cop spraying graffiti, and he was like,
such a Jason Todd moment.
Yes, but it worked. I don't care that it was a Jason Todd moment. It worked. We have Talia al Ghul in Arrow, and Arrow did a whole season where he like was married the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. We're way past stealing Batman moments here, okay? So don't worry about it. So Wild Dog said that put him on the right path. And I was like, 1, that shows how great Quentin is. 2, that actually makes me like Wild Dog a little bit more. And 3, see, cops, you can be good.
I will say...
Renee's a minority, by the way. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
See, cops, you can be good.
Yeah. I will say that even though I'm not a fan of the Wild Dog character, I do think this was some of the best acting that we got out of him. I thought when he was talking...
Being the secretary?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought he was actually funny and heartfelt.
All right, finally, I am actually kind of glad that Ragman is leaving.
I have mixed feelings about it.
He hasn't been doing anything for like the last 5 episodes except like sort of like walking into an episode and
like spewing out Hebrew words
and exposition.
Yeah.
So, and he's literally the most powerful member on the team. And I get his special effect is kind of hinky and probably expensive, but still, I'm kind of glad he's gone. I am kind of glad he's gone because you haven't been doing anything with him, and we have a new Black Canary. We have too many people on the team.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah. Any other goods before we move into the bad?
I think that was pretty much all the goods. There was a lot of good in this episode.
I agree. What Martians are for Supergirl, Russia is for Green Arrow.
Evidently.
There you go. Okay, let's go into the bad. I get why you do it for story reasons, but like the fact that Wild Dog is helping Quentin with an interview doesn't make sense.
No.
Doesn't make sense to me at all. It's just like, oh, we paid I forget Nick Gonzalez, I believe is the actor's name. I might be saying that wrong, but we paid Wild Dog to be in this episode, so you got to talk to Quentin Lance.
Rick Gonzalez.
I was correct. There you go. So yeah, what else did you not like about this episode?
Why did Arrow's stupid reporter girl he hasn't slept with yet have to still be? We haven't seen her.
No, he slept with her in this episode.
I know, but we've seen her. We have not seen her for episodes and episodes.
We haven't seen her since the mid-season finale.
Been aces, tremendous, and then she shows up and she's like, we haven't slept together yet, and they slept together on Legends, and so then they sleep together, and then they reveal what we all knew from the beginning, that she's gonna suss out that he's Arrow, even though everyone should know that he's Arrow or not, and she's gonna be a bad guy now.
Well, let's break that down. I don't think she's gonna be a bad guy. I think she's just gonna be a nuisance. I think she's gonna be a Vicky Vale. I think he's gonna be able to convince her.
Speaking of Batman,
of why to not give away the identity. All right, but let's talk about this. Okay, so in season 3, his identity got out in the public.
Yes.
Okay? And Roy Harper did this thing where it made everybody believe that he was the Green Arrow, stuff like that. Or he was the Arrow, because at the time it was the Arrow.
Yeah.
And then in season 4, he became the Green Arrow, and there was this sort of weird thing where everybody was like, oh, the Green Arrow is somebody completely different.
Even though his costume's almost exactly the same.
Comic books, you have to accept it.
Yeah.
Okay, I moved past it. All right. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
One, do you think she reveals the identity to public? Do you think we go into season 6 with a public identity Oliver Queen?
I think she threatens to unless he does X, Y, or Z. I think he doesn't do them and he calls in a brat of favor.
And kills her?
I'm hoping she dies because she's terrible.
I don't think she dies.
The hanging thread for me is is he a cop?
Is who a cop?
Who she was working with, who was like, here's a picture of
It kind of seemed like
Queen.
it seemed like a PI.
Yeah, it's like who that guy is
Yeah.
and what that guy's gonna do, because I think she'll be like, oh, but I love Oliver, so I won't out him. But I think she will use that as leverage against him.
Got it.
But I hope she dies.
Got it. Okay. I did not like Felicity blackmailing the Russian dude. Blackmailing might have been better.
Yeah.
Blackmailing the Russian dude. Just didn't dig it at all.
I didn't like anything Felicity did this episode.
Me neither.
She is gonna go defuse the bomb and her voice is shaking and it's really not great. And then Ragman absorbs all the powers of the bomb.
I'm gonna say that I thought the nuclear bomb was a good idea. I thought the idea of Ragman stopping the nuclear bomb was a good idea because it directly references last season.
Mm-hmm.
My only bad about that was that you could tell they didn't have the money to pull it off because they cut to outside the warehouse and they just shined a bright light. And then when we cut inside the warehouse, the way they did Ragman's makeup and costume
was weird.
Just didn't look right. That was my problem with it. I actually have no problem with it in a story-wise.
I just don't like anything about Hacker Felicity, and we're returning to that with this current storyline, so I'm not enjoying it.
Yep. I don't know. That's all the bads I have.
Yeah.
Mostly goods. All right, let's move into the rating. Out of 1 to 5 arrows, 5 being the best, 1 being you're going to get your ass kicked by Deathstroke. Ashley, what rating do you give this episode?
No matter how many arrows I give it, I'm probably still going to get my ass kicked by Deathstroke.
That is fact.
I thought this was a really good episode of Arrow. It was probably my favorite episode that we watched this week, so I'm going to give it 4
arrows.
4 arrows out of a potential full quiver.
Listen, you take my boy to Russia. You have him say my favorite line in Arrow history. You have failed the city. You give me a little taste of Talia al Ghul, and you put him in the season 1 costume. No doubt, I am going to give this 4 arrows.
Heck yeah, we're like ratings twins.
I was a 4 all the way across except for Flash.
Yeah.
Flash I gave a 3, but everyone I gave 4. This I thought was a strong week for DCTV.
It was a really strong week.
really enjoyed it. Okay, so before we reveal our prize winner. Sorry, we got to do predictions for Arrow.
Oh, we can do
Let's skip it. What do you think is going to happen in the predictions Arrow going in the future?
I think that we are going to see a showdown between Arrow and Talia in modern day by the end of the season.
Interesting.
I do. I don't think you introduce a character like that without bringing her into the modern day, even just once. We have to see her in modern day, and I think Black Canary is going to be the one, like the secret weapon in that showdown.
Talia's dead.
You can't die. You just huck her in a Lazarus pit and she wakes up again.
No, Talia's dead.
She'll just call Jason Todd.
Talia's dead, and the League of Assassins is what throws him back to the island. Calling it right now.
That's a good prediction.
Calling it right now. But that's not my prediction.
What is your prediction?
My prediction is that Prometheus will kill Ragman.
I'd be down for that.
I think that Ragman is going to die. He will not survive. Prometheus will kill him. And I also think that Felicity at some point in the season will have to make a choice between her hacker team stuff
and Team Arrow.
And Team Arrow. She will choose hacker team.
You know what would be cool? If they killed Ragman, but you still wanted to keep that actor around, you'd make him Dead Man.
Yeah, you could sort of do that.
I think that'd be cool.
The Rags can also go to another person. That has happened in the comic books before.
Yeah, I don't think they will, though.
But no, the League of Assassins and possibly Ra's al Ghul is going to throw... they're going to be... And possibly Nyssa. You might see Nyssa again.
True. I hope so.
The League of Assassins is what's going to throw him back to the island. That's the reason why he's going to be back on the island.
In time to be rescued.
In time to be
rescued.
rescued.
To grow the beard.
Well, I think they're going to do a thing where... I think what they're going to do is they're going to throw him back on the island in May.
Yeah.
And then see he lives out June, July, and August, September. And then by the time of October...
Interesting.
Huge beard. I think that's how they're going to get around it.
Yeah.
And that's, so like he was only there for like the last 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still, at the end of the day, I kind of wish Arrow had never left the island, to be honest with you.
He should not have left the island.
I wish they would have just found more weird stuff on the island. And he only left the island for like a day or two here and there. But still, whatever. All right, so let's, real quick, before we get to our giveaway, we're going to show you all the pictures and stuff like that. Ashley, what was the best show of the week?
I think I said it already.
You can't include Flash.
I think the best show of the week was Arrow. I think Supergirl was a close second for me.
I agree, comrade. Arrow was the best. 100%. Arrow, so good.
Yeah, it was really good.
All right. So, last week we had a little fun. We made a joke. Believe you said it first.
I misspoke.
Legion of Tomorrow, and we did a pose for you all out there, and we asked you guys to do some fan art out there, and here are some of the coolest pieces. And even though we wanted to give a prize to every single one of those, we can only give it to one. Only to one prize. And now we're going to reveal who gets this variant cover of The Flash Rebirth #1 and Batman #1 variant cover. Ashley.
Jason.
Who is the winner of these two cool comics for making a cool piece of fan art?
The winner is, drumroll, is Noah at Roostarpace, ROOSTARPAIS, for his Legion of Tomorrow poster.
He made us Brainiac, and he made you, who did he make you?
He made me Saturn Girl.
That's really cool. And he did Mon-El's suit. All right, so what's his name again?
Noah.
Noah, all you have to do is message me through the YouTube channel. Just go to the main channel. You'll see message me there. Or send me a tweet. I saw you created a Twitter account just for that. We'll shoot these two comic books to you. That piece of fan art was so cool. All right, guys, that's it. Let us know down in the comments what you think about our predictions, and also what you thought was the best show of the week. We're going to pick some of them out next week, and we'll read them on the show. So you got to be some good ones. Got to be some good stuff. Got to comrade. It's got to be the best comments. The best comments. Kulvar. The best comments. Bratva, Kulvar. Drink the vodka.
Vodka.
Yes. So we will pick the best ones. We'll read them next week. Don't forget, let us know down in the comments as well which theory you like the best. Ashley, we are in the last week of something called what?
Jupiter Jet!
Yeah, our comic book 5-issue comic book miniseries. Go support that at jupiterjetcomic.com. There's a little annotation that'll be appearing on the screen. And don't forget to click subscribe. We'll see you next week, you vodka-loving Green Arrow monkeys.